It's Elizabeth Hancock, host of the Great Awakening podcast. So this week, I thought we would take a look at the solar system, the universe, Earth. And this is because I went to a workshop last weekend. It was being run by John Martineau, and he is the author of the little book of Coincidence in the Solar System. And he was talking, showing all about the sacred geometry in the solar system and in the cosmos, and identifying the different harmonies between the planets, the dances that they do, the way that they work around the sky, and the way that they create this incredible sacred geometry, which of course made me immediately think of all the sacred geometry that we have found on Earth as well. There are spirals everywhere in space, and we can see here's some images here. There's 19 different spirals that have been captured on the James Webb telescope, and we can see that there's this sort of harmony, this spinning, this constant spinning. Sacred geometry is code. And it's found in every living thing, including us. Fractals, spirals, golden ratio, it makes up everything. And as we can see here, our DNA is also made up of the same spirals that are found in nature, and even what we call space. Everything is part of this field of sacred geometry, which plays out everywhere. The universe is essentially a magical orchestra that creates all life, planets, stars, and living things. And we are all part of this field. Our thoughts, emotions, words, it all acts to change our DNA. And this is wave genetics. Wave genetics is showing us that everything, all the energies, frequencies, everything that we are part of, that we are surrounds us, that we live in, it's all acting to change our DNA. So other people's thoughts, our thoughts, telepathic voices. And wave genetics was discovered by two Russian scientists who essentially discovered that DNA is energetic in nature. So in a sense, we could see our DNA as an energetic map of our story. Everything changes our DNA. So as our DNA alters and changes, it tells the story of where we've been, maybe even where our soul has been. But essentially, the collective can change our DNA, and so can the field. And the field is possibly what we call the universe, an etheric field, a plasma field that we see as the universe that may even end at the Milky Way. I talked about in a recent Facebook post how myself and my daughter, we've started to see so many flashing lights and moving objects around in the sky. But what are those? We call them UFOs, but what are those exactly? There's certainly a lot more activity up there. And when we consider this activity and what's moving around in space, we can also consider sacred geometry. The Earth and the cosmos work in harmony with us. Symbols, geometric shapes, signs, cymatic shapes that represent the frequencies in physical form. The field is not fixed, it is fluid. The Earth is not fixed, it is fluid. We are not fixed, we are fluid. And so is the universe. Essentially, sacred geometry facilitates the movement of energy. So as different energies and frequencies move across the sky, move across the land, it's creating these cymatic shapes, which are the physical manifestation of that particular frequency. We can see this all the way through nature, through us, even crop circles, snowflakes. This same energy, movement of energy, is flowing through everything. But what is so interesting about the universe is it's primed for perfection. It is always moving towards perfection, towards beauty. Nature is always moving towards perfection. She does not have accidents. She does not create superfluous things. Everything she creates has a meaning and a purpose, including us. So if the universe is primed for perfection, and we can see these beautiful fractals, sacred geometry, movements of energy all over our Earth, why is our planet so ugly now? What have we done to our planet to make it feel so out of balance, so disjointed? Why are we building such ugly buildings? Is it because we have cut ourselves off from the universe, from the cosmos? Have we cut ourselves off from nature? Are we no longer hearing the call of nature in the way that our ancestors did? They would work with the elementals, the sprites, even the angels, which are octaves within this massive harmonic field. They worked with the energies of the cosmos in a way that we have forgotten. Is it our consciousness creating this ugly, disjointed world? Or is it someone else doing it? It's only a matter of frequency. If you change the frequency, you change reality. The physical manifestation of source or nature will always be sacred geometry. But when you understand that frequency changes everything, you can interfere with that frequency. If we broadcast low vibrational frequencies into the world through TV and the news, then this will affect the human consciousness of everybody watching it. And this in turn will affect the collective reality of how we perceive matter. Crop circles are increasing and are really beginning to step up now. But looking at these crop circles here, especially the one in the bottom in the middle, this is a perfect geometric shape. The spirals. Here we have the spirals again, showing cosmic energy. As the cosmic energy hits the earth energy, it creates a beautiful symphony, just like the planets in the solar system are doing too. Here we have the dance of Venus, which is incredible in itself. Over an 8-year period, as seen from Earth, Venus traces a 5-fold pattern in the sky, and we could see this as a celestial rose or a pentagram. And this happens because of the precise relationship between Earth's and Venus orbits. When you map Venus's position from Earth at each inferior conjunction, the points form a 5-pointed star. So over 32 years, you see a beautifully repeating flower-like motion, which is called the Dance of Venus, where Venus and Earth spiral around the sun together in a graceful, almost musical ratio. So the universe is filled with sound, frequencies, octaves, what we might call planes of existence or densities and dimensions. It is a field of energy that is shaped by sound or frequency. And the harmonic resonance of the universe creates form. The solar system is literally filled with sacred geometry. Every pair of planets creates a dance, and they each waltz around each other and create geometry in the sky. Here we can see some of the patterns that are created. All the planets play out the music of the spheres, and even Jupiter's 2 largest moons draw a perfect 2-fold flower. And there's a lot more going on in the cosmos as well. As above, so below, we have the same going on in the world, in this planet as well. As I talk about in my book, my second book, Human Origins, the Multiverse and Our Star Ancestry, the Bosnian pyramids contain precise elements of sacred geometry, which align to the flower of life, the cosmic imprint of life in the universe, which in turn means it facilitates the movement of energy. The 5 pyramids in Bosnia match up to the same golden ratio layout as the Pleiades. In the work of Tesla, he identified the ionosphere of planet Earth as a huge electrical generator that could be tapped for what we call free energy today by using the various pyramids found around the world. The main Bosnian pyramid and tunnels underneath are filled with quartz crystal, which transforms one source of energy into another form in a way that is similar for all Wi-Fi and computing-based technology today. So we can see that we have the same technology today that they have, which is why I'm always saying what we have today, we had before, but it's been rebranded and called something else. Here we can see these absolutely incredible and beautiful buildings, old world architecture. And again, you can see that the sacred geometry just flows through them all. In the windows that we call rose windows, you can see these geometric patterns, this sacred geometry. And we also know that these same patterns have been found, or the frequency that creates the pattern has been found in the cathedral as well. So plates of sand have been left inside the cathedrals, and these cymatic shapes are formed in the sand, which shows that the resonant frequency inside the cathedral is the same cymatic pattern that can be found on the rose windows. This is no coincidence. This has been done on purpose, maybe to show us that that is the frequency that is contained inside the cathedral, or maybe because in the same way that the solar system seems to be creating planets through sound, frequency, harmony. This might be the same way that our planet once was as well. What we possibly call the Garden of Eden was in fact an entire world filled with this old world architecture that was literally formed using the same frequencies, harmonies that are found in the sky, as above, so below. And of course, we have the star forts. So just like we have the crop circles all around the world, we have so many star forts as well. You can see in the top left-hand picture, this is where there are star forts all around the world. And then in the top right-hand picture, again, you can see all the ley lines that run all around the world, creating a sort of grid, a grid of energy that can be tapped into in order to use for free energy, that certain geometric shapes that are either grown from the land, just like crop circles are, by frequencies that come from the sky and possibly from the earth, or equally, these particular buildings are built in this particular structure in order to work with the energy ley lines, the ley lines of the land, in order to provide healing, power, electricity. Dr. Ibrahim Karim, author of Biogeometry, refers to the practices of ancient Egypt because they use the energies of the cosmos to action changes. He states that the angels are octaves in a higher dimension or density to us. And higher does not mean better or more advanced. It means higher sound or higher frequency. They are energy, but they can be physical too, because physical is essentially slowed down energy waves. And we could see the universe as made up of different octaves and vibrations. Astrology and alchemy were our first sciences. And alchemy is probably what we would call magic, but this goes back to 3500 BC in ancient Egypt. And we would probably call this quantum physics today. Religion and science was separated in the 17th century, although modern day science began in the 1800s. But today, astrology shows us that the movement of the planets govern our world and lives still. Energy affects and creates physical matter. The solar system is a harmonic orchestra and affects our planet. Consciousness, conscious intent, works on ether, the etheric field, as does frequency or harmonics of the universe. And it's all shaping our physical world into existence. Just as these planets, stars, and frequencies are creating the universe, we are creating it too. In Sacred Geometry by Alan Brown, he states that myths come and go, as do scientific theories. But regardless of this, the world responds to however we choose or are taught to imagine it. Imagination and creativity is massively important in our collective, in our world. And I suspect that's because we manifest reality into being through our imagination. The Aborigines talk about their dream time, and they say that we dream our world into being, which is saying the same thing. The Indian Vedas also talk about the world being an illusion, the Maya, and how we are creating it, which again sounds very much like manifestation. We also have the Wataha tribe of New Zealand, and they say that when we lose our story, we lose our dream. And when we lose our dream, our spirit dies. We need to dream, or our spirit will die. This world is not fixed, it's fluid. It wraps around us and our thoughts, beliefs, and dreams. We've all heard of the expression that the universe meets us halfway. We've all read the book, The Alchemist, where it talks about the universe shaping itself around us, what we want, what we desire. It brings to us. This is dreaming. This is manifestation. This is our dream, our spirit. And it's telling us that this is not a fixed world. This is a world that is fluid, and we are creating this world, just as this world is creating us. Dr. Karim also said that the ancient Egyptians knew about the right brain of abstract thought, or what we call dream state today. And as many of us can tell, we've gone too far left brain, which has created these mental health issues and a loss of our dream. So these indigenous tribes, these ancient cultures, they talked a lot about our dream and our spirit and seem to be insinuating that we are the ones that create reality. We are the ones that bring all of this into being. So where does that leave the solar system? Everything in the universe is frequency. And the old world looks like it was a Garden of Eden created by frequencies from the cosmos and the earth. Resets are essentially energy or frequency manipulation. But frequency manipulation can be done both ways. What we have now is a huge positivity growing in our world, and we can feel the energies rising. Things are becoming more positive. The earth, the cosmos, or the universe is rebalancing itself because the universe is always primed for perfection. And there's a lot of activity up in the sky now as well. We can see a lot of things going on up there. So what is happening? Is the solar system real? And if so, what is real? Is it our perception? Is it how we see it? Is it how we're taught to see it? As Alan Brown says, again, who is creating what? Well, as I work as a healer and also a quantum hypnosis therapist and past life regression therapist, I do work with people and very interesting things come through. And I never discount anything. I always take everything and leave it there. It's just information. I don't block anything coming through, but that doesn't mean to say that it's necessarily reality. But all information is important. And in a guided meditation recently, I was supposed to be doing a guided meditation to Alcyone in the Pleiades. And this is an image of Alcyone here. And you can see the different stars in the Pleiades. And before I was about to run the guided meditation, I could not access the platform, which is on Insight Timer. And the platform completely shut down. I wasn't able to access it. So later on that night, in my meditation, I asked why I was not able to access the platform. And immediately I heard all these voices, chattering voices in my head. And they were saying, "We can see you. We don't want you here. We can see you. This is our world." And I thought, okay, that's fine. So I started to ask them about their world. And it was very interesting. And I understood that theirs is a planet like ours, that they are in a different dimension, that space is a vast network of energy, frequencies, densities, dimensions, vibrations, octaves. It's a huge network, and there are pockets upon pockets of other realms, other worlds. But it's not linear, and the stars and planets that we see in the sky are not inhabited by people. They are more like portals to other worlds. If we expand our consciousness out even further, we can now sense a multidimensional universe. And there are many scientists trying to prove this. And if they are trying to prove it, it means that they can feel it too. The Indian Vedas say that the universe is multidimensional, as do the Pleiadians, which is what Dan Willis was talking about a few weeks ago in my interview with him. Many of us can feel that the universe is alive, spiritual communities, and even quantum physicists. Planets literally defy logic. They go backwards, create spirals and geometric shapes in the sky. And how can this be random? All the planets in the solar system go one way, but Venus goes the opposite. How is this possible? Things that mainstream scientists can't explain, they ignore. But is this right to do? Should we be ignoring information like this? Scientists tell us that the planets don't go backwards. It's an optical illusion called apparent retrograde motion, because Earth is going faster than other planets and it overtakes them. Space used to be called the ether. And space is an English word that's derived from spatium. But the term space was first used to mean the region beyond Earth's sky by John Milton in the 1667 novel Paradise Lost. The term outer space was used later as an astronomical term used by Alexander von Humboldt in 1845. And then, of course, H.G. Wells popularized this phrase through his writings in the 1900s. H.G. Wells wrote about 50 books, and his work has shaped our current reality, as indeed so many of the TV programs, novels, books, all of these popular things that became really popular in the 1800s, 1900s, and now, of course, we have all the films, the sci-fi films. It's all shaping and creating reality. But if we come back to nature, studying the cosmos, studying the sky, and feeling into our heart as to the truth of that, what are we left with then? So what is our universe? Dan Willis, who I interviewed on my podcast, on my YouTube channel a few weeks ago, was told by his colleague on Mars that this is what the universe was or is, that each universe is a sphere, and there are an infinite number of bubble-like spheres in this great void laid out like the flower of life, because they are a non-linear space. All spheres are different. Each one is filled with the ether, with different levels of densities emanating from the singularity source in the center of each bubble. So as you can see here, in the center, we have source, which emanates through all 12 densities in our universe. Our universe is made up of 12 densities, and we are currently in third density, fourth density, and moving to fifth density. These 12 densities relate to the number of tetrahedron in octave multiples of cubotrahedron geometry. Stars are essentially nodal points, and a nodal point can be seen as a multidimensional linked point in space that connects fractally through the geometry of the matrix to the infinite of source and back. So we can see that the stars are essentially points in space that connect different densities back to the source, infinite source, which is the point here in the beginning, that everything is interconnected as one with source. So the stars are these nodal points that are connecting everything within the 12 densities of our universe to source. Now, I find this very interesting of describing the universe, describing how all of this works, and it does seem to fit with my understanding of a multidimensional universe, that there is no outer space as defined by us, that what we see in the sky are nodal points connecting different densities, different dimensions with source. And that is how I feel it is as well. So is the solar system real? Well, thinking about sacred geometry and how we also have sacred geometry on our earth as well, we have physical representations of sacred geometry everywhere, with the crop circles, with the star forts, with the cathedrals, the rose windows, the old world architecture. It's literally everywhere. And we can see that these are physical. They are physical buildings, physical crop circles, physical nature. Fractals run throughout nature, the golden ratio. We even have the flower of life in our own cells. As our cells begin to double and double and double, it creates the flower of life, showing us that the flower of life is not a one-dimensional model, as we look at it here, placed over Leonardo da Vinci's man. It is a multidimensional model. And that is how I see space, and that is how I see the universe. A multidimensional field, all connected to source and giving rise to other dimensions, other worlds, like the Alcyone world that I may have connected to or may not have connected to. I've certainly never had voices like that in my head as much as I heard. And I find that interesting and very strange. But equally, when I work with clients as well, they're often connecting to other dimensional aspects of themselves. And these other dimensional aspects of themselves are from somewhere else. Other dimensions, maybe, because dimensions are talked about in our ancient texts, beings from other dimensions, that other dimensions affect our dimension. For example, the Shay, the fairies, Shakespeare as well. And there are many clues in Shakespeare, which is why I don't think it was written by Shakespeare. But in there, it talks about the fairies, how the fairies affect our world. They affect the physical world. What are fairies? The same as elementals, the same as angels, octaves, what we would call entities, beings, even ETs today. It's all the same thing, but it's been rebranded and brought back as something new. And what is that new thing that we are heading into? Well, we are heading into the space age, and we have the current L's leading us into the space age. Elon Musk, L. Donald Trumpo. Are they good L's or are they bad L's? Well, who knows? But we can see that we are heading into the space age. We're heading into flying cars, flying cities. This has all been here before. The Vimanas, the flying cities talked about in our ancient texts, it's all been here before. So does that mean that space isn't real? The solar system isn't real? That ETs aren't real? Not necessarily. But it does mean we're bringing all of this back and we're renaming it something else. And this has all come from Atlantis. Something happened, but the technology remained. And we are working with and using the technology today. I also feel that in the Atlantis colonies, there were many non-humans living within those colonies, but there were many humans as well. But humans, very, very varied, different races, species of human DNA. Human DNA, as Dr. Gary Nolan talks about it, human DNA can be traced back 9 billion years. Human DNA, as wave genetics shows us, can create many different species and beings, which I'll talk about in another podcast. But the common denominator is human DNA in a variety of different forms. I feel our future is immensely positive on every single level. I do not feel fear. I do not feel wipeouts. I do feel that there's a reset, and I would say that the reset is the space age. But whether that is a bad reset or a good reset, I'm not too sure. But I do know that staying in our heart, leading from the heart, trusting ourselves, knowing ourselves, having great discernment, and trusting that all of this is going to work out just fine is how we get to the next step. What we call the new Earth is essentially a new vibration, a new vibrational frequency of Earth. And as we can see with all the old world architecture, the star forts, even the crop circles, we can see that this planet, this world used to be an amazing place. And we are heading back towards that now, bringing all of this old world technology back, which of course is new world technology, bringing all of this information back, which is stored epigenetically in our DNA, remembering who we were when we lived in the past and waking back up to the memory that we are not a physical being trapped in a physical body. We are a vibrational frequency and we have immense power. We can change that. We can decide what frequency we want to vibrate at. And the more of us that do this, the more we will move back into the higher frequencies of the old world, which is the new world, and create a beautiful earth once more. And that's all for now. Take care, and I'll be back soon with my next podcast on all the different beings that live in our world. Okay, take care for now. Bye.